There is a particular kind of quiet that arrives unannounced, settling into the spaces once filled with the constant, humming vibration of being needed. It's the silence of a phone that no longer rings with urgent questions or late-night worries from those you love. It's the open, empty squares on a calendar that was once a dense tapestry of obligations, pickups, deadlines, and duties, all woven around the needs of others. In this newfound stillness, a question can begin to surface, whispered from a part of yourself you may not have heard from in decades. The question is simple, and yet it carries the weight of a lifetime. What now? What do you do when the grand, demanding, beautiful, and exhausting role of being essential to everyone else begins to fade? Before we begin this journey tonight, let's just take a quick moment. I want you to write in the comments which part of this world you're listening from right now and what time it is where you are. I'm genuinely curious. Are you listening in the deep quiet of the late night when the world outside is finally asleep? Or perhaps it's the early morning hours when sleep just hasn't come yet and the dawn feels a long way off. Just leave a word or two, a small signal from your corner of the world. And then, once you have, just let it go. Settle in. Because this time, this precious time right now, is entirely and completely yours. There is no one else to answer to. So let yourself arrive fully in this moment. Feel the weight of your body being held completely by the bed beneath you. Notice the gentle texture of the sheets against your skin, the soft weight of the blanket that covers you. For so many years, your body has been a vessel of doing, of carrying, of holding everything and everyone together. It has been a source of strength, a bastion of reliability, a constant engine of care. And it has carried the tension of that role in its muscles, in its joints, in the subtle, persistent ache of exhaustion that you may have learned to call normal. But tonight, we are setting a different intention. The intention is not to do, but to be. The intention is not to hold, but to be held. The intention is not to prove your worth through your usefulness, but to simply rest in the truth of your inherent value, a value that has absolutely nothing to do with what you provide for others. Let's begin with a soft, gentle breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, not forcing it, just allowing the air to fill your lungs as if it were a calm, quiet tide rising. And as you exhale, just as slowly through your mouth, imagine you are releasing the physical echo of a lifetime of responsibility. With that one breath, give your shoulders permission to drop, to finally let go of the invisible weight they have carried for so long. Feel them soften, melting down and away from your ears. Let the next breath travel to your jaw. So often we clench our jaw in moments of stress, determination, or unspoken frustration. On your next exhale, allow your jaw to unhinge slightly, letting your teeth part and your tongue rest softly in your mouth. This is the release of holding back words, of swallowing concerns, of putting on a brave face for the sake of others. You don't need that mask tonight. Here, in this safe, quiet space, you can let it all go. Now, bring your awareness to your hands. Think of all they have done. The meals prepared, the tears wiped away, the futures built, the burdens carried. Your hands have been instruments of profound love and service. Tonight, let them simply be still. Uncurl your fingers. Let them rest, open and soft, palms facing up or down, whichever feels more restful. Feel the energy of doing drain away from your fingertips, leaving behind only a gentle, warm stillness. This is the feeling of being at rest, no longer needing to fix, to mend, to control, or to create for anyone else. Your only task now is to receive this peace. Consider this space, this bed, this room, as a sanctuary. For so long, your purpose was found in the world outside of you. It was reflected back at you in the eyes of a child who needed you, a partner who depended on you, a colleague who relied on your expertise, a friend who sought your counsel. Your identity was built like a strong, beautiful house, brick by brick, from the needs of others. And it was a good house. It was a shelter for many. But what we are here to explore tonight is the foundation beneath that house, the solid ground of your own being, which was there long before the first brick was ever laid, and which remains long after the inhabitants have moved on to build lives of their own. The quiet ache you may feel is not a sign that you are empty. It is the stirring of the ground beneath the house, reminding you that there is more to you than the structure everyone else has seen. The central question for our time together tonight is not how to become needed again, but how to discover who you are when you are no longer needed in the same way. How do you learn to turn that immense capacity for love, for care, for attention inward toward yourself? This is not a selfish act. It is a necessary one. It is the sacred journey of coming home to the person you were always meant to be, beneath all the roles you played so beautifully. Tonight, we grant ourselves permission to be messy, to be uncertain, to grieve what is past, and to feel a gentle curiosity about what might lie ahead. There are no expectations here. There is nothing to achieve. Just the simple, profound intention to rest in the quiet, to rest in the space, and to allow sleep to come not as an escape, but as a deep, healing process where you can begin to untangle your infinite worth from your finite roles. Take one more deep, slow breath with me now. Inhaling peace, and exhaling the long, long story of being the one who always had to be strong. Tonight, you don't have to be anything. You are free to simply be, and that is more than enough. Let your body grow heavier, sinking deeper into comfort as your mind begins to open to the possibility of a new kind of purpose, a new kind of peace that begins right here, right now, in this quiet, empty space. As you rest here, held in this quiet space, let your mind drift gently backward. Not to analyze or to judge, but simply to witness, with a deep and gentle kindness, the life you built for others. For so long, you were the center of a bustling universe. You were the sun around which other lives orbited, drawing warmth, light, and direction from your steady presence. Think of the sheer energy it required. You were the cornerstone of the family, the linchpin at work, the reliable heart of your community. A cornerstone is a fascinating thing. It isn't always the most decorated or visible stone in the building, but it is the one that bears the most weight, the one that gives the entire structure its integrity and strength. Without it, everything shifts. Without it, things can fall apart. And that was you. You held things together, often so seamlessly that no one, perhaps not even you, noticed the immense, constant effort it required. Remember the rhythm of those years? It was a powerful driving beat. It was the sound of the alarm clock going off before anyone else's, the quiet moments of preparation before the storm of the day began. It was the cadence of school runs, of deadlines, of meals that needed to be on the table. It was the relentless beat of 1,000 small questions that all came to you for an answer. Where are my keys? What's for dinner? Can you look this over for me? What should I do about this? Each question was a confirmation of your importance, a small note in the grand symphony of being needed. Your days were not your own. They were a tapestry woven from the needs, desires, schedules, and emergencies of others. And there was a profound sense of purpose in that. To wake up in the morning and know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you mattered, that your existence was critical to the well-being and functioning of other human beings. That is a powerful fuel. It gets you out of bed on the days you are tired. It gives you strength on the days you feel weak. It provides a clear and simple answer to the great existential question of why am I here? For decades, your answer was clear. I am here for them. This identity was not a shallow one. It was forged in the fire of late-night fevers, tested in the crucible of difficult decisions, and polished by the million acts of selfless service you performed without fanfare or expectation of reward. You became an expert navigator of other people's lives, a master logistician of the heart. And because you played this role so well, for so long, it's completely understandable that your sense of self became deeply, intricately intertwined with it. The line between what I do and who I am grew blurry, and perhaps, eventually, it disappeared altogether. You weren't just a person who cared for others. You were a caregiver. You weren't just someone who solved problems. You were the fixer. You were the rock, the go-to person, the one who always knew what to do. These titles became your name. This function became your identity. We pour ourselves into these roles like water into a vase, taking on their shape so completely that we forget the nature of water itself, which is to be fluid, free, and formless. For a time, the vase gives us purpose and direction. It allows us to hold the beautiful flowers of our family, our career, our community. But what happens when the flowers are taken from the vase? It can feel like the vase is suddenly painfully empty. And because you have identified with being the full vase for so long, that emptiness can feel like a personal failing, a void within your very soul. This is the heart of the matter, the quiet ache we spoke of earlier. It is the completely natural, profoundly human feeling of looking at your life now and thinking, if I am not that role anymore, who am I? It's the grief that comes from a chapter not just ending, but a chapter that was your entire identity coming to a close. Allow yourself to feel the truth in that without judgment. Acknowledge the part of you that feels lost at sea now that the familiar shoreline of others' needs has receded from view. For years, you navigated by those stars, and now the sky looks different. The constellations have changed. It's crucial to understand that this feeling is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is a sign of how much you gave. It is a testament to the depth of your love and the totality of your commitment. You loved so fully, you gave so completely, that you merged with your service. Think of a mighty river that has spent centuries carving a canyon. The river and the canyon are one. The river's identity is the canyon it creates. When the river's course is diverted, or it begins to slow and pool as it nears the sea, the canyon remains, a vast, beautiful, and silent testament to the power that once flowed through it. You have carved a beautiful canyon in the lives of others. The shape of your love, your strength, and your care is etched into them forever. And now, as your own waters begin to slow, it is time to get to know the river itself, not just the canyon it carved. It's time to honor the life you built for others as a masterpiece of love, and to validate the feeling of loss that comes with its completion. It is okay to stand at the edge of this new quiet and feel a sense of disorientation. You have earned this moment of pause, this moment of reckoning with a life so well lived for others. Now, as you lie here, sinking deeper into a state of rest, let's gently turn our attention to the cost of that beautiful life you built. Let's speak softly about the heavy weight of the unseen crown you wore for so many years. Every king, every queen wears a crown. It is a symbol of their responsibility, their power, and their duty to their people. But the crowns of folklore are made of gold and jewels. They are seen, they are acknowledged, they are celebrated. Your crown was different. It was invisible. It was forged not from metal, but from 1,000 silent promises. It was adorned not with gems, but with the worries you held for others, the burdens you carried on their behalf, the emotional weight you absorbed so they wouldn't have to. And this invisible crown, in many ways, was far heavier than any crown of gold. It was the crown of being the responsible one. Feel for a moment the sheer, bone-deep exhaustion that lives in your body. It's not just the tiredness from a single day's work. It is a cumulative exhaustion, layered year upon year, like the sediment at the bottom of a deep lake. It's the exhaustion of interrupted sleep, listening for a child's cry, or a partner's restless turning. It's the exhaustion of a mind that never truly shuts off, a mind that was always running in the background, tracking schedules, anticipating needs, solving problems before they even fully formed. Your mind was the central processing unit for a whole network of people, and it rarely, if ever, got to power down. Even in moments of seeming rest, a part of you was always on alert, on call. This is the unseen labor of being the cornerstone. It's the constant, low-level hum of vigilance that becomes so normal you forget it's even there, until one day it stops, and the resulting silence can feel deafening. Let's name this burden with honesty and compassion. There is a subtle pain that comes from feeling like a function more than a person, a role more than a soul. When you are the go-to person, people come to you with their problems, their needs, their emptiness. They bring you their cups to be filled. And because you had such a deep well of strength and wisdom, you filled them again and again. But who was filling your cup? Who was asking what you needed? So often, the one who holds everyone else together is the last person anyone thinks to check on. There's an assumption that your strength is infinite, that your well is bottomless, and perhaps you even started to believe it yourself. You learned to suppress your own needs, to quiet your own desires, to put your own exhaustion on a shelf to be dealt with later. But later somehow never seemed to arrive. Think about the loneliness of that position. To be the emotional center of a family or a workplace is to be the confidant for everyone's struggles, but to have no one to confide in yourself for fear of burdening them, for fear of appearing weak or shattering the illusion of your infinite strength. You became a safe harbor for so many ships, but your own ship had to weather the storms alone. This is the quiet ache of the strong one, the unspoken sadness of the caregiver who has no one to care for them with the same intensity and devotion. This is not a complaint. It is not a cry for pity. It is a simple, gentle, and loving acknowledgement of a profound truth. It is the validation of a reality you have lived, a reality that deserves to be seen. You carried so much, for so long, with such grace. Let that statement sink into your heart. Let it be a balm on the parts of you that have felt unseen and unappreciated. You made it look easy, which is the hallmark of true mastery. But it wasn't easy. It required a constant, daily sacrifice of your own energy, your own time, your own emotional space. You became an expert at absorbing the anxieties of others. You learned to be a calm center in their storms, a steady hand in their uncertainty. You held the emotional temperature of the room, of the entire family, and you did whatever was necessary to keep it stable. This is a tremendous skill, a profound gift, but it comes at a cost. The cost is that you can forget what your own emotional temperature is. You can lose touch with the landscape of your own inner world because you have been so busy tending to the gardens of others. So tonight, as you rest, let your body remember the weight of that crown. Allow yourself to feel, just for a moment, the strain it placed on the muscles in your neck and shoulders. Allow yourself to acknowledge the mental fatigue of always having to have the answer, or at least pretending you did. Allow yourself to honor the part of you that longed, in quiet moments, for someone to simply come and take the crown from your head just for an hour and say, "Rest, I've got this." The truth is, that moment has now come. But it is not someone else who is taking the crown. It is life itself that is gently lifting it from you. The demands have lessened. The urgent calls have quieted. The weight is being removed. And your body, your soul, your entire being must now learn how to stand up straight without that familiar, heavy pressure. It can feel strange, untethered, almost too light. But this lightness is not emptiness. It is freedom. It is the beginning of a long overdue rest, a rest that you have earned 1,000 times over. You carried the weight of worlds on your shoulders, and now you are finally being given permission to set it down. You can let it go. As this deep sense of release begins to settle within you, let's broaden our perspective. Let's lift our gaze from the personal story of your life and see it as part of a much larger, more ancient, and deeply natural pattern. What you are experiencing is not a personal ending. It is not a failure, nor is it a sign that you have become irrelevant. You are simply moving into a new season. And this season is known to every forest, every star, and every river. It is a fundamental rhythm of the universe. Think about it this way. A river begins its life high in the mountains as a rushing, powerful torrent. Its purpose is clear and energetic. It carves canyons. It moves boulders. It nourishes the seeds along its banks, bringing life to everything it touches. In this phase, the river's identity is defined entirely by its action, its force, its utility to the landscape. This was your season of active giving, of building, of nourishing the lives that grew up alongside you. You were that powerful, life-giving force. But no river can maintain that mountainous intensity forever. As it flows out of the highlands and onto the Great Plains, its nature begins to change. It widens. It slows down. Its purpose is no longer about carving and forcing, but about meandering, reflecting, and supporting a different kind of ecosystem. The quiet wetlands, the broad deltas. It becomes less about doing and more about being. And finally, as it approaches the vast, endless ocean, the river's journey reaches its ultimate transformation. It doesn't die. It doesn't end. It merges. It becomes one with something infinitely larger than itself. Its banks dissolve. Its singular identity is released into the boundless peace of the sea. the river's purpose is not lost. It is fulfilled. This is the season you are entering now, the season of flowing toward the quiet sea. You are not alone in this feeling. Please let that truth settle deep into your bones. Right now, in this very moment, all around the world, there are millions of other hearts navigating this exact passage in the quiet hours of the night. There are fathers whose children have grown and left home, feeling the strange silence in a house once filled with noise. There are mothers who poured every ounce of their being into raising a family, now finding themselves with empty hands and an open schedule. There are leaders who have retired from careers that defined them, now waking up without a team to guide or a mission to accomplish. There are healers and helpers of all kinds who find that the people they cared for have found their own strength and no longer need them in the same way. You are part of a vast, unseen community of souls learning to redefine their purpose beyond their role. This is not a private sorrow. It is a shared, universal human experience. It is a profound rite of passage that our modern world rarely speaks about or honors, but it is as real and as natural as birth or death. And in this shared passage, there is often grief. It is so important to normalize this grief. The sadness you may feel for the chapter that is closed is not a sign of weakness. It is a direct measure of how much you loved, how much you cared, how deeply you gave of yourself. You grieve because it mattered. You feel a sense of loss because what you had was so profoundly meaningful. We would never tell a tree in autumn that it is wrong to let go of its leaves. We see the beauty in its release, understanding it is a necessary part of the cycle that allows for rest, for the gathering of strength deep in the roots, and for the possibility of new growth in the spring. Your grief is your autumn. It is the honorable and beautiful process of letting go of the leaves of a season of life that was vibrant and full and green. To deny that grief would be to deny the beauty of the summer that came before it. So allow the feelings of nostalgia, of sadness, of a bittersweet ache to be present. They are not the enemy. They are messengers. They are honoring the significance of your journey. They are reminding you of the love you poured into the world. When you feel a pang of longing for the days when the phone rang constantly, when your presence was desperately needed, recognize it not as a desire to go backward, but as your heart saying, I remember how good it felt to give. I remember the love that flowed through me. Validating this grief is the first step toward moving through it. You are not stuck here. You are simply passing through a season that every river knows on its long and winding journey to the sea. And just like the river, you carry within you the memory of the mountains, the nourishment you gave to the plains, and the deep, abiding wisdom that comes from a long journey well traveled. This is not the end of your story. It is simply a turn in the riverbed, leading you toward a new and peaceful horizon. Right here, in the safety and stillness of this moment, I want to offer you something you may not have received from anyone else, perhaps not even from yourself. I want to give you explicit, unequivocal permission to grieve what was. You have permission to feel the full weight of the sadness that comes with no longer being the first call. It is okay to miss the feeling of being indispensable, of being the one person who could make things right. That role, for all its burdens, was also a source of incredible validation and purpose. It was a clear, shining signal that you mattered. When that signal fades, It can feel like you are disappearing, fading into the background of lives you once occupied at the very center. Let yourself feel that. Don't push it away. Don't tell yourself you should be grateful for the quiet or that you should be happy for their independence. Those feelings may come later, and that's fine. But right now, you are allowed to simply feel the loss. It is a real and valid emotional experience. It's the echo of a love that was vast and powerful. You have permission to mourn the loss of the identities that defined you for so long. Grieve the you who was the parent of a young child, the you who was the essential manager, the you who was the primary caregiver. These weren't just hats you wore. They were skins you lived in. They shaped your days, your thoughts, your very sense of self. To shed a skin is a vulnerable and disorienting process. You can honor the person you were in that role, thanking them for their strength, their sacrifice, their unwavering love. You can feel a profound sense of gratitude for the life they allowed you to live, and at the same time, feel a deep sadness that their time has passed. These two feelings, gratitude and grief, are not opposites. They can exist together, intertwined, like bittersweet vines. Acknowledging the grief doesn't diminish the gratitude, it deepens it. Imagine you have spent your life as the captain of a beautiful, sturdy boat. For decades, this boat was your entire world. You knew every board, every rope, every groan of the wood in a storm. Your purpose was clear: to navigate this vessel and to carry your precious passengers, your family, your colleagues, your community, safely through treacherous waters to their destinations. You poured your heart and soul into being the best captain you could be. You weathered storms, you patched leaks, you guided them by the stars when the way was dark. And you succeeded. One by one, your passengers have reached their shores. They are standing on their own 2 feet, on solid ground that you helped them reach. The boat's primary mission is complete, and now the boat rests at the shore. It is still a beautiful, sturdy vessel, filled with the memories and stories of 1,000 voyages. But its purpose has changed. It is no longer a vehicle of transport. Its work is done. You are allowed to stand on the shore, look at that magnificent boat, and feel a profound sense of loss. You can grieve the feel of the wheel in your hands, the spray of the sea on your face, the sense of purpose that came with navigating the waves. You can miss the camaraderie of your crew, the dependence of your passengers. To grieve this is not to wish they were still in danger on the sea. It is simply to honor the significance of the journey you all took together. You can love the boat, be proud of its service, and still feel the ache of its stillness. This grief is not a desire to go back to the storms. It is a testament to how much you loved being the captain. In this safe space tonight, you can let the tears come for that captain and that boat. There is no guilt or shame here. There is only a compassionate space to let go of what was, so that you can begin to see what is. This process of grieving is not about wallowing or feeling sorry for yourself. It is an act of emotional hygiene. It is the necessary process of cleaning out a wound so that it can heal properly. When we suppress grief, when we tell ourselves we shouldn't feel sad, we are essentially leaving debris in the wound. It can fester, leading to resentment, bitterness, or a persistent, low-grade sense of emptiness. By giving yourself permission to feel the sadness fully, you are allowing the wound to be cleansed. You are honoring the past, and in doing so, creating a clean slate for the future. You are acknowledging the depth of your own heart, a heart capable of such profound attachment and love that its letting go is a monumental event, worthy of ceremony, worthy of tears, worthy of a period of quiet mourning. So let this feeling wash over you. Don't fight it. Don't analyze it. Just allow it to be. It is the rain that is needed to soften the ground for new seeds to be planted. It is the exhale after holding your breath for a very, very long time. In this moment, you are not failing. You are healing. You are honoring your own magnificent story by allowing yourself to feel the honest human emotion of a grand chapter coming to its natural and poignant close. Rest in this permission. There is nothing else you need to do but allow. As the waves of grief begin to soften, washing over you and receding with a gentle calm, we can begin the delicate and important work of untangling. For years, two concepts have been woven together so tightly in your experience that they have likely become one: the idea of being needed and the idea of being valuable. We are gently, carefully, going to begin separating these two threads. Imagine a beautiful, intricate knot tied over a lifetime. We are not going to cut it or force it apart. We are simply going to find a single, loose thread and begin to gently pull, to see what happens, to create a little space. The knot is the belief that your value is directly proportional to your usefulness to others. The loose thread is a new and liberating idea that your worth was never in the tasks you performed, but in the love, the wisdom, and the presence you brought to those tasks. Consider this for a moment. Think of a simple act you performed 1,000 times, perhaps making a meal for your family. Where was the value in that act? Was it in the physical ingredients, the chopping of vegetables, the stirring of the pot? No. Other people could have done that. The true, lasting value was in the unseen ingredients you added. It was in the care you took to remember who liked what. It was in the intention to nourish and sustain the people you loved. It was in the presence you offered at the table, creating a space of connection and belonging. The meal was just a vehicle. The love was the real nourishment. The tasks were the riverbed. Your essence was the water that flowed through it. Now that the river has slowed, the water has not vanished. It has simply pooled, becoming deeper, clearer, more still. Let's explore this from another angle. Think of a time you offered advice to a child or a friend who was struggling. They came to you because they needed your guidance. But what made your guidance valuable? Was it just the words you said? Not entirely. It was the deep well of your own life experience from which those words were drawn. It was the genuine compassion in your eyes as you listened, making them feel seen and understood before you even spoke. It was the unwavering belief you held in their ability to overcome their challenges, a belief that perhaps they couldn't hold for themselves in that moment. Your usefulness was the act of giving advice. Your value was the wisdom, the compassion, and the faith that infused it. Those qualities do not disappear when no one is asking for advice. They remain within you, a rich, fertile soil waiting for a new purpose. We learn this tangled belief that worth equals work from a very early age. We are praised for our accomplishments, for being helpful, for being productive. Our society celebrates doing, achieving, and contributing. And while these are good things, an overemphasis on them can lead us to a quiet internal conclusion. If I am not doing, I am not worthy. If I am not contributing in a visible, tangible way, I have no value. This is a profound and painful misunderstanding of what it means to be human. It reduces our magnificent, mysterious existence to a simple transaction. It turns a soul into a tool. And you are not a tool. You are a soul. Let this affirmation settle into the quiet spaces of your mind. Let it be a gentle mantra that you can repeat softly to yourself as you drift towards sleep. My value is not in my utility. It is in my essence. My value is not in my utility. It is in my essence. What does this mean? It means that your worth is inherent. It is not earned through service, and it cannot be diminished by inactivity. It is a fundamental quality of your being, like the heat is a quality of the sun, or the wetness is a quality of water. The sun doesn't have to do anything to be warm. It simply is warm. A mountain doesn't have to do anything to be majestic. It simply is majestic. You do not have to do anything to be valuable. You simply are valuable. Your decades of service were a beautiful expression of your value, but they were not the source of it. The source has always been, and will always be, within you. This is a radical shift in perspective, and it may feel foreign or even untrue at first. That's okay. We are just planting a seed tonight. We are not expecting it to grow into a mighty tree overnight. We are simply placing it in the warm, receptive soil of your subconscious mind as you prepare for sleep. Allow your mind to gently play with this idea. Think of the people you love most in this world. Is their value to you based solely on what they do for you? Or is it something deeper? You love them for who they are, for their laugh, for the way they see the world, for their kindness, for their unique and irreplaceable spirit. You love them for their essence. You have always been able to see this truth in others. Tonight is about beginning to see it in yourself. It's about turning that same lens of unconditional love and acceptance inward. The great untangling has begun. Gently, softly, you are beginning to separate the gold of your being from the machinery of your doing. And as you rest, you will discover that the gold was always there, shining quietly, waiting to be rediscovered. As you continue to float in this peaceful state, let's explore another comforting and powerful truth. Even though the active, daily need for you may have diminished, the impact of your love and care has not vanished. It has simply changed form. It has become a lasting imprint, woven permanently into the fabric of the lives you've touched. Think for a moment about the people you dedicated so much of your life to: your children, your partner, your team, your friends. You weren't just solving their daily problems or meeting their immediate needs. You were doing something far more profound and enduring. You were teaching them, by your very example, how to be in the world. You were building an internal scaffolding of resilience and wisdom within them that they now carry inside themselves. When you taught your child how to navigate a disappointment, you weren't just fixing a temporary sadness. You were giving them a tool for resilience that they will use for the rest of their lives. When you showed a colleague how to handle a difficult situation with integrity, you weren't just solving a work problem. You were instilling a value that will shape their character for years to come. These lessons don't disappear when the teacher is no longer actively teaching. They become a part of the student. Your wisdom is now walking around in the world, living and breathing within the people you have loved. You provided a foundation of stability and safety. For years, you were the safe harbor they could always return to. You were the calm in their storm, the steady ground beneath their feet. The gift of that kind of security is immeasurable. It's what gives a person the courage to venture out into the world, to take risks, to build their own lives, because they know, deep in their bones, that they have a place of unconditional love to return to. The fact that they may not need to return to that harbor as often now is not a sign that the harbor is no longer important. It is a sign that you did your job so magnificently well that they learned how to build their own sturdy ships. They learned to navigate their own seas. This is the ultimate success of a caregiver, the greatest achievement of a mentor. Your legacy is not their dependence, it is their strength. Consider the analogy of a master gardener. For years, the gardener tends to a young sapling. She waters it, protects it from the frost, enriches its soil, and carefully prunes its branches to encourage strong growth. Her daily presence is essential to its survival and development. As the years pass, the sapling grows into a mighty tree. Its roots run deep, able to find their own water. Its branches are strong, able to withstand the wind. It begins to bear its own fruit. The gardener's daily work is no longer needed in the same way. She can step back and watch the tree flourish. Does this mean her work was for nothing? Of course not. Her love, her care, her wisdom are now encoded into the very being of that tree. The strength of its trunk, the depth of its roots, the sweetness of its fruit are all a direct result of her early devotion. Her imprint is permanent. The tree no longer needs her daily tending, but it will forever be a testament to her love. You are that gardener. Look at the strong, beautiful trees that have grown from your care. Their flourishing is your masterpiece. Let's use another image. Imagine your love and care as a source of warmth, like a great crackling fire in the hearth of a home. For many years, people gathered close to that fire. They warmed their hands. They found comfort in its light. They felt safe from the cold outside. Your presence was that fire, a constant source of heat and light. Now, the fire has burned down to a deep, glowing bed of embers. It doesn't leap and crackle in the same way, but the warmth it has put into the very stones of the hearth, into the walls of the room, remains. The room is still warm, long after the flames have died down. This is the lasting imprint of your love. The people you cared for have absorbed your warmth. They carry it inside them now. They bring that warmth into their own homes, to their own families. The heat you generated has not been lost. It has been transferred, passed on, creating a legacy of warmth that will continue to radiate out into the world for generations. So when you feel that quiet ache of not being needed in the same intense, immediate way, gently reframe it in your mind. Remind yourself that the need has not vanished. It has evolved. It is transformed from a need for your active intervention to a need for your foundational presence. They may not need you to fix their problems anymore, but they will always be living out the lessons of resilience you taught them. They may not need you to provide for their daily needs, but they are nourished by the legacy of love you instilled in them. Your impact has become so deeply integrated into who they are that it is now invisible, just like the foundations of a house are invisible. But without that foundation, nothing could stand. Your love is the foundation upon which they have built their lives, and that is a powerful, permanent, and sacred legacy. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't demand your time, but it is holding everything up, silently, steadfastly, and forever. Rest in the truth of that invisible, enduring strength tonight. As we continue to drift deeper into this state of peaceful awareness, let's shift our perspective once more. We have been untangling your value from your usefulness. Now, let's explore what it means to find value, not in doing, but simply in being. Let's talk about the value of the mountain. A mountain is one of the most powerful and revered presences in the natural world. But what does a mountain do? It doesn't produce anything in the way a factory does. It doesn't actively serve anyone in the way a parent does. It doesn't rush to solve problems in the way a river does. A mountain simply is. It sits in profound, silent, unshakable stillness. And yet, its value is immeasurable. People travel thousands of miles just to be in its presence. They find peace in its silence, strength in its solidity, and a sense of perspective in its towering majesty. The mountain's gift is its being. Its silent, steady, unchanging presence is its purpose. It reminds us of things that are timeless, powerful, and true, simply by existing. You are entering the mountain phase of your life. For so long, you were the bustling river, carving canyons and nourishing the plains. Now, you are being invited to discover the mountain within you. The part of you that is solid, that is wise, that has been weathered by 1,000 storms and still stands, grounded and serene. This part of you has always been there, beneath the flurry of activity, but now you have the time and the space to truly feel its presence. Your purpose is shifting from the active, outward energy of the river to the quiet, radiant energy of the mountain. Your new purpose is not to do, but to be. Your presence is your purpose now. What does this mean in a practical sense? It means that your value is no longer measured by the number of tasks you complete or the number of people you help. It is measured by the quality of the presence you bring to each moment. It's the calm you radiate into a room just by being there. It's the wisdom that sits behind your eyes, a wisdom that doesn't always need to be spoken to be felt by others. It's the sense of history and perspective you hold, a grounding force in a world that is often chaotic and fast-paced. Like a mountain, you provide a sense of permanence. You are a living testament to endurance, to love that lasts, to a life fully lived. This is an incredibly powerful gift, and it requires no effort on your part. It only requires that you accept and inhabit your own mountain-like nature. Let this affirmation sink into you. My presence is my purpose now. Feel the release in that statement. It absolves you from the need to constantly prove your worth through action. It frees you from the exhausting race of staying relevant and useful. You can simply be, and in your being, you offer something profoundly needed in the world, a point of stillness, a bastion of peace. When your family or friends are in your company, they may no longer need you to solve their problems, but they will absorb the calm that you embody. They will feel grounded by your steady presence. They will draw unspoken strength from your quiet resilience. You become a touchstone, a place where they can remember who they are, away from the frantic pace of their own lives. To cultivate this mountain-like presence, you don't need to do anything at all. In fact, it's a process of undoing. It's about letting go of the need to manage, to control, to fix. It's about learning to sit in stillness and be comfortable with it. It's about trusting that your very existence is enough. Let your body feel this now. As you lie here, feel your connection to the earth. Imagine you have roots growing down from you, deep into the core of the planet, anchoring you with an unshakable strength. Feel the solidity of your own bones, the steady rhythm of your own breath. This is the beginning of feeling your own inherent mountain-like presence. It is a source of stability and wisdom that exists completely independently of any role you have ever played. It is not the parent part of you or the worker part of you. It is the core you, the essence that has been there all along. For years, your energy flowed outwards, a constant stream of giving. Now is the time to let that energy pool within you, to let it gather and deepen. This doesn't mean you become selfish or uncaring. It means your care now comes from a different place. It comes not from a sense of duty or a need to be needed, but from a place of profound fullness within yourself. A mountain does not strive to shelter the trees on its slopes. It simply is, and its very form provides that shelter. In the same way, you no longer need to strive to help others. You can simply be your full, authentic, peaceful self, and your very presence will become a source of shelter and comfort for those around you. This is a more subtle, but in many ways, a more powerful form of giving. It is the gift of your being, offered freely, without agenda, without the need for anything in return. Rest in your mountain nature. Feel its strength, its silence, its timeless peace. There is nothing to prove. Your presence is your purpose now, and it is more than enough. Having connected with the solid, mountain-like presence within you, let's now turn our attention to the rich, fertile landscape that covers that mountain. Let's explore the beautiful, intricate garden you have unknowingly cultivated within yourself over a lifetime of caring for others. For so many years, you saw your inner qualities primarily as tools. Patience was a tool to handle a child's tantrum. Compassion was a tool to soothe a friend's broken heart. Resilience was a tool to get through a crisis at work or at home. Wisdom was a tool to offer the right advice at the right time. You viewed these incredible strengths as instruments for the benefit of others, and they served that purpose beautifully. But what happens when you stop seeing them as tools and start seeing them as the flowers, the trees, and the streams of a magnificent inner landscape that is now yours and yours alone to enjoy? Let's walk through this garden together. First, feel the deep, soft earth of your patience. Think of the thousands of times you waited for a baby to fall asleep, waited for a teenager to come home, waited for a slow colleague to grasp a concept, waited for a difficult situation to resolve itself. Each act of waiting, of choosing not to rush, not to force, not to explode in frustration, was like adding a handful of rich soil to your garden. You have cultivated a capacity for patience that is extraordinary. This patience is no longer a tool you need to wield for others. It is now a peaceful meadow within you where you can rest. It's the ability to sit with your own thoughts without judgment, to allow your own healing to unfold in its own time, to watch the clouds pass in your own mind with a calm, accepting gaze. Your patience has come home to serve you. Now, bring your awareness to the clear, flowing stream of your compassion. Consider the immense volume of empathy that has flowed through you. You felt the pain of others as if it were your own. You celebrated their joys. You held their sorrows. This constant flow of compassion has carved a beautiful, life-giving river through your inner world. It has kept your heart soft and open in a world that can often make people hard and closed. This compassion is no longer just a resource for others to draw from. It is now a healing stream for you. You can turn that same gentle, non-judgmental understanding toward your own perceived flaws, your own regrets, your own sadness. You can learn to offer yourself the same kindness you so freely gave to everyone else. You can come to this inner stream, cup your hands, and drink deeply from the waters of your own self-compassion. It is a wellspring that will never run dry. Look now at the tall, ancient trees of your resilience. Think of the storms you have weathered, the personal losses, the professional setbacks, the health scares, the moments when you thought you couldn't possibly go on, and yet you did. Each time you stood firm, each time you bent without breaking, you were deepening the roots of these magnificent trees. You have a forest of resilience within you. You have an innate understanding that seasons change, that storms pass, and that the sun will eventually shine again. This resilience is no longer just for showing others how to be strong. It is your own personal sanctuary. It's the quiet strength you can draw on as you navigate this new, uncertain chapter of your life. It is the deep cellular knowledge that you will be okay, that you have the capacity to handle whatever comes next. You can rest in the shade of your own strength. And finally, notice the rare, fragrant flowers of your wisdom. This is not intellectual, book-smart knowledge. This is the deep embodied wisdom that comes only from a life fully lived. It's the wisdom of knowing what truly matters and what doesn't. It's the wisdom of understanding human nature, its follies and its glories. It's the wisdom of knowing that love is the most powerful force of all. For years, you offered blossoms from these plants to others in the form of advice and guidance. Now, the entire garden is in full bloom for you. You no longer need to pick the flowers for anyone else. You can simply walk through your garden and delight in their beauty and fragrance. You can appreciate the complex patterns, the subtle colors, the profound truths that have grown out of your experiences. This is your time to enjoy the fruits of your own long journey. Let this affirmation gently permeate your being. I am a wellspring of wisdom and compassion. Feel the truth of it. These qualities are not things you do. They are who you are. They are the very substance of your inner world. The great work of your life has not just been in raising children or building a career. It has been in the simultaneous, often unnoticed, cultivation of this stunning inner garden. The irony is that in the process of giving everything away, you are actually building your own greatest treasure. Now, the time for constant, active gardening for others is passing. A new season has arrived. It is the season of the quiet enjoyment of the garden. It is time to become the peaceful visitor, the contemplative wanderer in the beautiful landscape of your own soul. You have earned this peace. You have earned this beauty. It is all here, inside you, waiting to be rediscovered. Having walked through the inner garden you so beautifully cultivated, we now arrive at a quiet, gentle clearing. In the center of this clearing is a person you may not have spent much time with for a very, very long time. This person is you, not the parent, not the partner, not the professional, not the problem solver, but the essential you that exists beneath all of those roles. For decades, this core self has been waiting patiently in the background. It has been the quiet, observant presence that has watched you play all your parts upon the stage of life. It has held your deepest dreams, your private curiosities, your simple, unspoken joys. And now, as the theater grows quiet and the other actors have taken their bows and gone home, This essential self is stepping forward from the shadows, not with demands, but with a gentle, curious smile. It is time to meet yourself anew. This can feel like a strange and even awkward encounter. Imagine meeting a dear friend you haven't seen in 30 or 40 years. You would have so much to catch up on. You would be curious about who they have become, what they now love, what they think about in the quiet moments. This is the invitation of this new season of your life to get reacquainted with your own self, to become your own dear friend. There is no pressure here, no expectation to suddenly discover a grand new passion or embark on a dramatic adventure unless you want to. The invitation is much softer, much quieter than that. It is simply about turning your attention inward with curiosity and kindness. It begins with a simple, gentle question, a question you can hold in your heart as you drift off to sleep tonight. The question is this: without anyone else to care for, how can you care for yourself? Let that question hang in the air for a moment. It's not a problem to be solved, but a possibility to be explored. Caring for yourself is likely a skill that has grown rusty from disuse. Your entire being has been wired to scan the horizon for the needs of others. Now, you are learning to recalibrate that powerful radar, to turn it around and scan your own inner landscape. What does it find there? Perhaps it finds a simple longing for more silence. Perhaps it finds a forgotten love for music, or books, or walking in the woods. Perhaps it finds a body that is crying out for gentle movement and deep rest. Perhaps it finds a mind that is hungry for new ideas and learning. Think of the small, simple joys that may have been put on a shelf for a later that never came. The hobby you once loved but didn't have time for. The type of food you adore but no one else in the family liked. The simple pleasure of sitting with a cup of tea and a window, with no agenda other than to watch the world go by. These are not frivolous things. They are the language of the soul. They are the ways your essential self communicates its needs and desires. Learning to care for yourself is like learning a new language. You start with small words, simple phrases. You listen more than you speak. You are patient with yourself as you learn. This is not about becoming selfish. In fact, it's the opposite. The greatest gift you can now give to the people you love is the gift of your own happiness and wholeness. When you are fulfilled, when your own cup is full, the love you have to offer is no longer drawn from a sense of duty or obligation, but from a genuine overflow of your own well-being. You can love them more freely, more joyfully, because your own identity is no longer dependent on their need for you. You can simply delight in who they are becoming without any unconscious need for them to need you back. This is the purest form of love. So, let a sense of gentle curiosity be your guide. What might this you enjoy? What is she or he interested in? What makes your own eyes light up? You may not know the answers right away, and that is perfectly okay. The joy is in the asking. The adventure is in the discovery. For so long, your life was a well-drawn map, with every road and destination clearly marked by the needs of others. Now, you have been given a blank map. This can feel terrifying at first, like being lost, but it can also be seen as the ultimate freedom. You get to draw the map now. You get to decide which roads to explore, which mountains to climb, which quiet rivers to sit by. Tonight, as you fall asleep, you are simply opening the door to this possibility. You are signaling to your deepest self that you are ready to listen, You are extending a hand of friendship to the person who has been waiting patiently for you all these years. There is no rush. This is a slow, gentle unfolding. It is a quiet homecoming. And it begins now, in this peaceful, curious, and open-hearted moment of meeting yourself again, as if for the very first time. As you continue this gentle journey inward, meeting the self that waits beneath the roles, let's explore the space that has opened up in your life. At first, this space may have felt like a void, an emptiness. The quiet in the house may have sounded like absence. The open blocks of time in your day may have felt like a lack of purpose. But tonight, we are going to gently reframe this. We are going to look at this new landscape, not as a void, but as open space. We are going to hear the silence, not as absence, but as peace. For years, your life was like a room filled to the brim with furniture. Every corner was occupied. Every surface was covered. There was the heavy armchair of parental responsibility, the sturdy desk of your career, the endless shelving of community obligations. The room was full, functional, and deeply meaningful. But there was very little room to move, very little space to simply breathe or to see the shape of the room itself. Now, much of that furniture has been gently removed. The room can feel stark, empty, echoing. But look again. What you are truly seeing, for the first time in a long time, is the space itself. You are seeing the beautiful architecture of your own life, the windows that let in the light, the solid floor beneath your feet. This is not emptiness. This is open space. And open space is the prerequisite for anything new to arise. It is the blank canvas upon which a new masterpiece can be painted. It is the fertile field, lying fallow, gathering its strength before the spring planting. In the same way, let's listen to the silence. For so long, the soundtrack of your life was loud, a constant symphony of demands, questions, and the needs of others. Silence was a rare commodity, something to be craved but seldom found. Now, silence is abundant. At first, this can be unnerving. Our minds, accustomed to constant stimulation, can race to fill the quiet with worry or anxious thoughts. But if we can just sit with the silence, breathe into it, a miraculous shift can happen. We begin to hear what the noise was drowning out. We can hear the gentle rhythm of our own breathing. We can hear the subtle beating of our own heart. We can hear the quiet whisper of our own intuition, the voice we were too busy to listen to for decades. This is not the silence of absence. It is the silence of presence. It is a rich, generative, and deeply peaceful state. It is the sound of your own soul finally having room to speak. Within this open space and this deep silence, a profound gift is being offered to you. It is the gift of freedom, not just freedom to do new things, but the more subtle and perhaps more important freedom from old things. You are being granted freedom from obligation. Think of the immense weight of that word, obligation. The feeling that you have to do something, that you must be somewhere, that you are perpetually beholden to the expectations of others. For years, this was the invisible structure that held your days together. Now, that structure is dissolving. You are being released from the tyranny of the shoulds. You no longer have to cook dinner at a certain time. You no longer have to structure your weekends around the activities of others. You are no longer on call 24/7 for every minor crisis. This freedom can be disorienting, like a prisoner who has been released after a long sentence and doesn't know what to do with the open sky. But it is a sacred gift. It is a chance, finally, to rest, Not just the rest of a night's sleep, but a deeper, more cellular rest. A rest for your soul. A rest from the constant performance of being the responsible one. You are free to wake up in the morning and ask yourself a question you may not have asked in decades. What do I truly want to do today? And the answer might be wonderfully, gloriously simple. I want to read a book. I want to sit in the garden. I want to do absolutely nothing at all. To do nothing, not out of exhaustion, but out of conscious choice, is a radical act of self-love. It is a declaration that your worth is not tied to your productivity. Let this affirmation be a gentle breeze that blows through the open spaces of your mind. I am free to simply be. I am free to simply be. Feel the lightness in those words. Feel the permission they grant. To simply be. Like the mountain, like the sky, like a tree in a quiet forest. This doesn't mean your life will be empty or meaningless. On the contrary, it is in this state of simply being that we often connect with the deepest meaning of all. When we are not rushing to do, we have the space to notice, to appreciate, to feel gratitude for the small miracles of existence, the warmth of the sun, the taste of our coffee, the sound of birdsong. The purpose of your life is no longer about reaching a destination. It is about inhabiting the journey, moment by quiet moment. This open space, this silence, this freedom, they are not a void. They are an invitation to come home to yourself, to rest in your own being, and to discover the profound peace that was waiting for you all along, just beneath the surface of the noise. Now, in this deep state of rest and openness, we begin a process of gentle weaving. We are not discarding the past or rejecting the person you were. Instead, we are gathering all the beautiful, strong threads of your entire life and weaving them together with the newfound peace of the present. We are creating a new blanket of self, one that is warm, whole, and tells the complete story. The first thread we pick up is the vibrant, powerful thread of your years of service. We hold it with honor and gratitude. This thread represents your strength, your capacity for boundless love, your dedication, your sacrifice. It shines with the memories of every meal you cooked, every tear you wiped, every problem you solved. We do not see this thread as representing a time of servitude, but as a time of immense heart-centered power. It is the thread that taught you resilience, compassion, and a wisdom that cannot be learned in books. We lay this thread down as the strong, foundational warp of our new blanket. It provides the structure, the integrity, the history upon which everything else will be built. Your past of doing is not something to escape from. It is the solid foundation of the person you are becoming. Next, we pick up a softer, more somber thread. It is the thread of your grief, the quiet ache of letting go. This thread is colored with nostalgia, with loss, with the bittersweet acknowledgement of a chapter that is closed. We do not hide this thread or see it as a weakness. We recognize it as a thread of profound beauty, for its color comes from the depth of your love. It is a sacred thread. We weave it gently alongside the thread of service, allowing it to create a pattern of honesty and emotional depth in our blanket. This thread says, "I loved so much that it hurt to let go." It honors the human heart's capacity for attachment and the natural pain that comes with change. By weaving it in, we make our blanket not just strong, but also soft, compassionate, and true. It becomes a blanket that can comfort others because it acknowledges the reality of loss. Now, we pick up a new thread, one that feels light and spacious in our hands. It is the silver thread of freedom and stillness we have just been exploring. It shimmers with the quality of open space, of silence, of peace. It represents the quiet mornings with no agenda, the release from obligation, the permission to simply be. We weave this luminous thread in and out of the others. It doesn't replace the old threads, but it transforms them. It creates space between the dense fibers of service and grief, allowing them to breathe. It brings light into the pattern. This thread changes the entire texture of the blanket, making it less of a heavy, functional covering and more of a light, comforting wrap. It is the thread of grace, the thread of rest. It whispers, the hard work is done. It is time to be held. Finally, we pick up a thread that feels like pure gold. It is the thread of your inherent worth, the truth of the mountain and the garden within you. This thread is not about what you have done, but about who you have always been. It is the shining, unbreakable thread of your essence, your soul. It is radiant with self-acceptance and a deep, quiet confidence. We use this golden thread to stitch the entire blanket together to create a beautiful, finished edge. It runs through every other color, every other texture, and reminds us that underneath the story of doing, the story of grieving, and the story of resting, there has always been this fundamental, unchanging truth. You are worthy. You are whole. You are enough. This golden thread ensures that the blanket is not just a collection of memories, but a cohesive work of art, a symbol of your integrated, whole self. Now, step back and look at this blanket you are weaving. It is your life. It is a masterpiece of complexity and beauty. It honors the demanding, vibrant years of service. It makes a safe space for the sorrow of transition. It celebrates the liberating peace of the present. And it is all held together by the undeniable truth of your intrinsic value. This is what it means to become whole. It is not about cutting off parts of yourself, but about integrating them. It is about understanding that the river and the mountain are not separate entities, but different expressions of the same life force. You were the river. You are becoming the mountain. And it is all one beautiful, continuous journey. As you lie here, preparing for sleep, imagine wrapping yourself in this magnificent blanket. Feel its comforting weight. Feel the strength of the threads of service, the softness of the threads of grief, the lightness of the threads of freedom, and the gentle, radiant warmth of the golden thread of your worth. This blanket is your new identity. It is a wholeness that contains all of your experiences, all of your wisdom, all of your love. You are not the empty space. You are the one who is now resting peacefully in the beautiful fullness of who you have become. This is the deep peace of integration, the quiet joy of honoring your entire journey. Wrapped in the warm, whole blanket of your integrated self, let us now sink into the deepest peace of all. This is the peace of simply being enough, not good enough, or strong enough, or useful enough, but just enough, whole, complete, lacking nothing. Let a sequence of deep, soothing statements wash over you, not as ideas to be analyzed, but as gentle waves of truth to be absorbed by every cell in your body as you drift toward sleep. Allow each one to land softly, without resistance, without argument. Your only task is to receive them. You are now released from the need to prove anything. For so much of your life, you were proving yourself, proving you were a capable parent, a competent professional, a reliable friend, a good person. The performance is over. The curtain has come down. There is no one to impress, no judge to please. You have already earned all the love and respect you will ever need, most importantly, from yourself. You can lay down the heavy burden of performance and simply rest in the truth of who you are. You are enough, just as you are, lying here, breathing. You are now released from the need to perform. Your worth is not a transaction. It is not something you offer in exchange for love or acceptance. It is your birthright. You do not need to earn your place at the table of life through endless acts of service. Your place has always been reserved for you, simply because you exist. The relentless drive to give, to do, to fix, can finally be put to rest. You can now give from a place of genuine overflow, not from a place of needing to secure your value. And on the days when there is no overflow, you can simply rest, knowing your value remains undiminished. You are enough, even in your stillness. You are now released from the need to be useful. Think of the most beautiful things in nature: a sunset, a wildflower, the song of a bird. They are not useful. They serve no practical purpose. And yet, they are sources of immense joy, beauty, and wonder. They are valuable for what they are, not for what they do. You have entered the season of your life where you are free to be like the sunset. Your purpose is not to be a tool in someone else's life, but to be a thing of beauty and presence in your own. Your very being, in its calm, wise, and weathered glory, is your gift to the world now. You are enough, beyond all utility. Feel this sense of enoughness permeating your entire body. Let it be a warm, honey-like sensation that flows from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Feel it in your mind, quieting the inner critic, the voice that always whispers more or better. That voice can finally rest. Feel it in your heart, soothing the old ache of not feeling fully seen or appreciated. Your own self-appreciation is all that truly matters now, and it is growing stronger with every breath. Feel it in your physical body, allowing every muscle to release the last remnants of tension associated with striving, with holding, with carrying. The carrying is over. The striving is done. Focus for a moment on the simple, miraculous sensation of your own breathing. Your body breathes for you, without any conscious effort. It knows exactly what to do to keep you alive. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't strive to be a better breather. It just breathes. It is perfectly, naturally, effortlessly enough. Let your entire being align with this rhythm of the breath. Inhaling, receiving life. Exhaling, letting go. In this simple, profound cycle, there is no lack, no deficit, no need to prove. There is only the peaceful, sufficient reality of this moment, this breath, this existence. You are not a project to be fixed. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a life to be lived, and a soul to be honored. The feeling of not being needed by others is not a sign that you are deficient, but an invitation to realize that you were never, ever deficient to begin with. You were always whole, even when you were busy giving pieces of yourself away. You were always worthy, even when you were seeking your worth in the eyes of others. You were always enough, even when you felt you had to do more to be loved. This is the great homecoming. The journey's end is not a new destination, but the full and complete arrival into the place you have been all along, your own sacred, worthy self. Rest in this profound peace. Rest in the deep, unshakable knowledge that you are and have always been completely and utterly enough. Now, as the truth of your own enoughness settles deep into your soul, let your awareness turn fully to your physical body, this faithful vessel that has carried you through the entire journey. It is time to let every muscle, every fiber, every cell release the memory of having to do. For decades, your body has been in a state of readiness. Your muscles held a subtle chronic tension, prepared to lift, to carry, to move, to act at a moment's notice. It was the tension of responsibility. Tonight, we give your body permission to fully stand down, to enter a state of deep, profound, and total rest. Imagine a gentle wave of relaxation beginning at the very top of your head. Feel it flowing over your scalp, soothing the tiny muscles around your eyes, releasing any tension in your forehead. Let this wave of calm flow down into your jaw, allowing it to go completely slack. Your jaw has done so much work, speaking, guiding, comforting, and clenching through stress. Its work is done for today. Let it be loose and heavy. Allow this wave to continue down into your neck and shoulders. This is where the heaviest burdens were carried. This is where the weight of the invisible crown was felt most acutely. Imagine that wave of relaxation dissolving any knots, any stiffness, any memory of that weight. Feel your shoulders melting down, away from your ears, spreading wide, releasing a lifetime of holding everything together. Let your arms become heavy and limp at your sides. Your hands, which have done so much, can now be completely still. Feel the energy of doing draining out from your fingertips, leaving only a gentle warmth and profound stillness. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to fix, nothing to grasp. Simply let go. Now focus your mind on this simple, peaceful sensation of your breathing, but in a new way. Don't try to change it or control it. Simply observe it as if you were watching the gentle tide of a calm sea. Notice the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, cool and fresh. Follow its path down into your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest and your belly as you receive this breath, this gift of life. And then, without any effort at all, feel the release of the exhale, the gentle falling of your chest, the soft sigh of the air leaving your body. Each breath is a cycle of receiving and letting go. For so long, your life was focused on the exhale, on the giving out. Tonight, allow your focus to rest on the inhale, on the receiving. Receive the peace, receive the stillness, receive the oxygen that nourishes every cell of your being. You are being cared for by the air itself. You don't have to do a thing. As you continue to rest in this peaceful rhythm of breathing, bring to your mind the image of a calm, deep lake at midnight. The day's activity is over. The boats are all moored at the shore. The wind has died down completely. The surface of the lake is like a perfect mirror of dark glass, absolutely still and perfectly whole. It is so still that it can reflect the stars in the night sky with perfect clarity. The lake is not striving to reflect the stars. It is not working to be a mirror. It achieves this perfect reflection simply by being still. Its power is in its stillness. Its beauty is in its peace. Let your mind become like the surface of this deep, calm lake. Let the endless chatter, the plans, the worries, the mental lists, let them all settle, like fine sediment sinking down to the bottom, leaving the surface of your mind clear, quiet, and still. Your mind, too, has been a tireless worker. It has been a strategist, a planner, a worrier, a problem solver. It has earned a profound rest. Give it permission to do nothing now. Let it simply be. Let it float. If a thought drifts by, like a single leaf falling onto the surface of the lake, simply notice it and let it drift away, returning your awareness to the vast, peaceful stillness of the water. This lake is you. Its depth represents the deep well of your wisdom and experience. Its stillness represents the peace you are now cultivating. And its ability to reflect the stars represents your soul's capacity to connect with the mystery and beauty of the universe. A capacity that is most potent not in doing, but in being. You are whole, complete, and perfect, just like this lake. It needs nothing else to be what it is. It is not defined by the boats that cross it or the swimmers who enjoy it. It is defined by its own deep, quiet, watery essence. Feel yourself merging with this image. You are the calm lake. You are the deep peace. You are the still surface, effortlessly reflecting the beauty of the cosmos without doing a thing. Rest in this profound state of being, where there is nothing to do, nothing to solve, and nowhere to go. You have arrived. You are home. The lake of your mind is calm. The blanket of your wholeness is wrapped around you. The deep peace of being enough has settled into your very bones. There is nothing more to do now. Nothing to solve. The stories of the past have been honored. The anxieties about the future have been released into the quiet night air. All that remains is this present moment, this gentle breath, this slow, inevitable drift into worthy sleep. Sleep is coming for you now. It is not an escape, but a homecoming. It is the safe harbor where your soul can rest and restore itself, free from all roles, all duties, all names. In sleep, you are not a parent, not a worker, not a helper. You are pure essence, pure being, and you are so very, very safe. Allow my voice to be a gentle anchor as you drift. Let the numbers guide you down, deeper and deeper, into the healing darkness. 10. Letting go of the day, of all that was said and done. It is complete. It is in the past. It floats away now, like a leaf on a gentle stream. 9. Feeling your body grow heavier, more and more relaxed, sinking down into the mattress, held completely, supported entirely. You don't have to hold yourself up anymore. You are being held. 8. The sounds around you begin to fade into the distance. The only sound that matters is the soft, rhythmic lullaby of your own breath. A sound that has been with you since the moment you were born and will be with you always. It is the sound of life itself, looking after you. 7. Letting go of all thought. The mind, that beautiful, tireless servant, can finally rest. The lake is still. The surface is clear. Peace reigns in the quiet kingdom of your mind. 6. A feeling of gentle, warm peace spreading throughout your entire body. A deep sense of well-being. A quiet knowing that all is well. All is truly well. You are exactly where you need to be. 5. You are drifting now, floating on a calm, quiet sea beneath a sky full of gentle, watchful stars. The tide is carrying you effortlessly toward the shores of deep, restorative sleep. 4. Deeper and deeper now, so peaceful, so calm. Every muscle is soft, every nerve is quiet. You are entering the sacred space between wakefulness and dream. 3. Almost there, on the very edge of sleep. You can feel its soft embrace, its promise of renewal. You have given so much. Now it is your time to receive this profound gift of rest. 2. Letting go completely now, releasing your final grip on consciousness, trusting the darkness, trusting the silence, trusting your body's ancient wisdom to heal and replenish you as you sleep. 1. Sleep is here. a deep, nourishing, worthy rest for a soul that is and has always been enough. You matter, not for what you do, but for who you are. Rest now.